All right. Hey, Melissa, I see you're joining here. Thank you for joining. I am just getting started. I just started the recording. It is a couple minutes after the hour here, so I am going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome. Thank you for being here. For those of you who've registered and are not yet here, that is totally okay. I know there's a lot going on, and some people were registering and letting me know, like, please record, and I'll catch up. So we will do that and make sure that we record. We're recording now here for you, and I'll send out an email with the link and whatnot after. So here we are. We're in the Gap. We're at the Gap. Am I shopping at the Gap for a sweatshirt? No, we are here to talk about the Gap. What is the Gap? So let me just go through a few things here. I want to share with you something that really impacted me, something that really helped me. A couple of just about a month ago, I was in Scotland. I went for a conference with a bunch of my colleagues in coaching and some of the world's absolute leading experts, thinkers, thought leaders on all things around personal development and performance. And it was a fully immersive event. I mean, my mind was just absolutely blown. I was so excited with the things I was learning. And I immediately was looking back in my life at all of these points when I made a change or when things were going really great, and I was able to achieve, what I was setting out to achieve. And so many things were clicking. And I realized that one of those key things was when I knew what my gap was and I was able to close it. And that is what I wanted to talk about. So, closing the gap between where you are now and where you're meant to be. You're not stuck where you are. If anybody feels stuck here, I don't know if you want to drop that in the chat, say like stuck as what rhymes with stuck? Stuck as heck. Stuck as all heck. Um, like so many of us, I have been stuck a number of times in my life, and I talk to people every day who are stuck. I was talking to stuck as all heck. There we go. Um, I was talking to a senior vice president at the company that is a very prestigious company in the financial services industry, and she is about to retire, and she feels completely stuck. You're not stuck because you lack motivation. You're not stuck because you're lazy. You are stuck, and we're going to get, really dig into this a little bit because of the conditioning that's running in the background, quietly steering your results every day. And I want to talk to you about how to reprogram that, how we can get into that. If you think of it like this, you are an app developer and you are living your life by the program that you developed. You designed your own program. Part of it was designed by you, and part of it was designed by, some people in your upbringing, some people in your, environment. But if, let's be honest, if you've ever felt like like me, like I have felt many times, like something is just holding you back, something unseen that just keeps pulling you backwards, you wake up knowing that you're meant for more income, more accomplishment, more freedom, more joy. Maybe it's friends. Yet somehow you feel like stuck. You feel like you just can't break through this invisible barrier that just seems to fucking hold you back. You know what I'm saying? We've all been there. You can see the version of you thriving, but it just feels out of reach. It's not laziness, it's not lack of discipline. We try to tell ourselves that to try to fix it, but it's what we call the gap. It's this invisible space between where we are today, where you are right now, and where you're capable of being and where you're capable of living. And until you learn how to really program the beliefs that are running the show in the background, you're going to keep repeating the same patterns, even when you want to do different. But we can get there. We can do this. You have done this in your life, 100%. If you think back to the last time you felt like really amazing, really accomplished, maybe there was a moment where you were like somewhere. Think of like something that was like a major highlight in your life. For me, it was, recently, or not so recently, was I was on stage. I was backstage waiting to walk on stage in this huge stadium. And I was just like, is this even real? Like, am I actually doing this? This is beyond. This is like so extra. And it was like it was like, this is too big for me. Like, I had this moment of like, wow, where am I even going? But when I think back to how I got there, when the opportunity came, and like before the opportunity came that I had to sing in this huge, huge stadium, it was me imagining myself, seeing myself, believing that I was destined to do this, that I could do this, that I had it, how we say, I had it in me. I had this in me to do. I knew I was capable of doing it. There was a belief there, right? And when we believe, everything shifts and everything kind of lines up. So that's exactly what we want to kind of dig into here. So this masterclass, it's 2 nights, tonight, right now, we're in the middle of it, and then also tomorrow. So I want you to walk away with a couple of things. I want you to understand and know the mental loop that's been keeping you where you are right now. And I want you to be able to know a tactical, practical way that you can start reprogramming that to control how your outcome is going to go. And more importantly, most importantly, I want you to get a picture of what you want again, because our imagination is so powerful, and us having a clear picture of where we're going. First, we got to look at where we are. I mean, let's get real and look at where we are, the nitty gritty, ugly parts of it, what we don't like, what we don't want, to recognize and see that, and then get into like, where do I see myself? What could I be doing? And, then I'm going to help you with some of those blocks, some of those gaps in between, and how we can get over that. So we're going to look at like that hidden programming that's shaping your reality. This is going to be review for some people. Some of you've heard this before. You've maybe heard it from me before. But I want to repeat this and reiterate it for you, because there's real power in the repetition. And then by tomorrow, we're gonna create a couple of new daily patterns that you can practice in a short bursts a couple of times through the day to stay in forward motion. Um, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see where we are. We're gonna look at where we want to go, talk about that gap, look at our paradigm, our thinking, and our mindset, and how that is controlling this gap, and how big it is or how narrow, and how we can close it and move forward. And then yeah, we're gonna have some good homework that we can put into it. So does that sound good? Everybody's okay with that? All right. Dad, I see you got a hat on. I wish I had a baseball cap with me. I have had a very long day, and I'm feeling very much shaggy and needed a haircut. I should put a hat on too. It looks great. So let's get into it. Where are you now? Where are you right now? Think about that for a second. Our brain, something I learned recently. So I'm going to ask lots of questions. This is going to be like 100 questions in a row that I'm asking you, but I want to get you thinking, because, and our brain, our subconscious mind, even better than affirmations to ourself, a question to ourself is good. It gets us thinking in the direction of of a solution. So where are you right now in your life? How did you get here? I mean, if you have a pen and paper and you want to take some notes, you can. You can look it on the replay. I'm going to send some notes from this. Luckily, we have our AI friend in Zoom taking notes here. Our oh, is AI companion not turned on? Let's make sure. Oh yeah, it's turned on. Um, so you'll get a summary of all of this. I'm going to send out some notes after. But how did you get here? Like, the one way I like to think of it is, if today is today, and my life is a Netflix series, where did it start? I mean, if you go back to like the birth canal, we don't have to go back quite that far. I mean, you might want to, because you're part of where you are is because a little bit of mom and a little bit of dad came together, and you look the way you look because of your genetics, because of your mom and dad. You speak the language that you speak natively because whether you have an accent or whether you don't have an accent, well, we all have an accent to somebody. But the language, your mother tongue, where and how you speak, that's because of the family that you were born into. So that affects. But I'm talking about like since we've had a conscious mind and we're choosing and making choices to put ourselves, how did we get here? And what did chapter one look like? How did we get here? It's something to just like ponder on and let that think in a little bit. Our environment is a looking glass. So it is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. Some parts of our programming that's inside of us and our thinking and our mind, it wasn't put there by you. It was not your fault that you think that way. A lot of it was our upbringing and our, early environment. Um, we got here because ultimately of what we believed about ourselves, what we believed we could do, who we believed we were, what we believed we were capable of doing. Think back to like the industry that you're in. Like, how did you get into your industry? How did you get into your job, into your line of business, into your line of work? Was it by accident? Was it like something that you wanted to do since you were a little kid? Thinking of where you are today. Most of us fell into it by accident. Some of us had a decision, some of us had a thought. Or, I had somebody I was talking to on Monday, a new client that said, well, I'm in finance because that's what my dad did. My dad worked for the bank and he got me in out of school and he thought I should take banking, finance, and business. And so I did. And, she's working in the bank now for 27 years because her dad was. Am I living by default or am I living by design? You know, how did you find this? I remember a couple of my first jobs that I got, it was kind of out of necessity. It was like I would have loved to be doing something, to be working, straight on in music and teaching music and whatnot, but I was not doing that. And it was just like, oh, well, my dad knew somebody and they got me a job here and they transferred me down there to another location. And it just one thing turned into the next, turned into the next. And I sort of accidentally found myself, so many years down the road. Um, but I'm going to ask. So now I've been talking for a couple of minutes here. I want to ask a question and I want to look in the chat and see who is really brave and wants to drop something in here. So, who has a thought or a comment here? Who has something that they maybe want to share about how they got here? If you can summarize that, is it, because of a family member, because of something you took in school and it was a job that you just got straight away? Really curious to see if anybody wants to share about how you got here. And so here's one thing I want to challenge you with. This is going to be your first, you're going to have some different homework points through the night. So if you're writing down your homework, this is one thing I want you to write down. And we're going to take about 60 seconds right now in silence. I wish I had some music to play. I just don't have it ready. I could sing, I could hum Twinkle Twinkle for you. um, I want you to take a paper, or you can do it on your phone. You can type it into your, if you're driving, please don't type it. Please just maybe think about it. But I want you to write it down in black and white where you are right now and answer some of these questions. I'll go back and ask them again here because I want you to be able to have this in front of you and see in black and white, crystal clear, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. How did I get here? Did I get here by accident? How did I get into my line of business? Is it by purpose, by design, or is it sort of by default and just falling into what happened? I want you to take a minute here and just think about this. It's really important to assess, like to be really, I mean, if we're going to get honest, if you want to make a shift in your life, if anyone is serious ever, and if you on this call or you're watching this replay and you are serious about making a change in your life about making a shift and finally making that decision to move forward and get what you want and start creating the life that you want, the first thing we have to do is get 100% really honest at where am I right now and how did I get here? Because seeing that on paper, seeing your own thoughts in front of you is going to speak volumes. And we won't be able to define, how we start shifting gears forward until we take a little inventory. I see, I think Dat put something in the chat here. I make decisions from what I want to lead me here. So that is amazing. That is amazing, Dat. You were stuck. Stuck as heck. Yes, you were stuck too. Made decisions from what you wanted to lead you here. That's amazing. And that's ultimately like the way that we want to go. That's the place that we want to be, is choosing by design exactly what we want. So it's a little heavy. It's a little heavy place to start. So I want to shift gears. And now I want to talk about for a couple of minutes to get you thinking about where you want to be. And one way of asking this, sometimes this might help, is where did you intend to be in life? If you look back when you were 18, 19, 20 years old, maybe 22, 24, coming out of, high school, coming into your adult life, like what did you dream about doing? What are some of those things that you saw that, oh, wow, if I could just be doing this, this would be so incredible. Where did you want to be? You know? Um, if you think about, let me ask it like this. Like, if money was no object, you weren't tied down, you had like, don't worry about your car payment, don't worry about your rent or your mortgage, don't worry about like responsibilities at work. If anything was possible and you just had, your entire life from now until however long you have on this earth ahead of you, and you could do absolutely anything, what would you want? Like, what do you really want your life to look like? And you can use some of these prompts here to help you think. What about in your finances? Like money. Money is not everything, but it's important. It sure creates a lot of, it's how the world goes around. It creates and buys and purchases and gets most of the things that we want and desire. It gives us time, freedom. Um, so what about money? What about finances? How much money would you want to earn? What sort of feeling would you want to have around your money? What about work? What kind of things would you maybe want to do for work? How would you want to be working at all? How would you how would you want to give back? How would you want to be helping other people? What about family? What about like relationship, love life? How do you see that? Where do you see yourself living? So I want to take you on a little exercise here. So nobody's looking except for me. I can see in your camera, your camera if you're on a little bit. But I want you to just close your eyes. And I'm going to take you on a little journey, okay? So close your eyes for a second. I want you to picture yourself in your perfect home. I mean, dream home. It's decorated exactly how you want. It's just picture the lights, picture the flooring, picture the what the kitchen looks like, how the front door opens, the size of it, the color of it. Think of it, like get into it. Just picture yourself walking in the front door. It's late in the evening. You're coming home after a full day. You grab a glass of water in the kitchen. You're walking around. What do you see? How is it decorated? What does the space feel like? What do you see outside the windows? What is the yard like? Is it a condo? Is it a loft? Is it in a city? Is it on the beach? Where are you looking at? If this is like your dream life that you could live and you could live anywhere and do anything, are you on an orchard? Are you in an igloo? Like in the North Pole? You can be anywhere you want. There's no limitations here. It's just your imagination. So see yourself finding your way to your bedroom. How does it look? What does the floor feel like against your feet? What is that like smell, that beautiful aroma that just is filling the house? Is it wood? Is it the smell of tile? Is it the smell of flowers? Is it your custom design home scent that you have like evenly dispersed in every room? What is it? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? So you find your way to your bedroom, and is it carpet? Is it tile? What does the bed look like? What is on the walls? How does it feel? I mean your ideal home. Like get into the feeling of it here for a minute. You find yourself laying down, take a deep breath, alarm is set, your phone goes down, whatever your nighttime routine is, you brush your teeth, you do your thing, and you drift off to sleep completely satisfied, completely happy, like in your dream world, your dream existence here. And now picture yourself getting up in the morning. The sun is coming through. You're just getting up naturally. Just your body is waking up at the time. Maybe the sun is not up yet and it's dark. Maybe the sun is just cracking through the windows, cracking through the blinds. And you take a deep breath and you smell that home again and you feel the sheets on your skin. And you put your feet out the edge of the bed. Boom, you're ready to take on the day. You come downstairs, or maybe it's all one level, or you go upstairs, wherever your bedroom is. You find your way to the kitchen. You grab a glass of water, or maybe you have a coffee from your espresso machine, or a tea, or a green juice that's pre-made from your, private chef, or however you see yourself being. And you have that first moments of the day. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does it smell like? And now ask yourself, okay, what am I doing today? Who are you going to be meeting today? What does work look like today? Are you going to an office? Are you stepping on stage to an event? Are you meeting in person with a group of people? Like what are you doing? What would you be doing in that perfect, ideal, incredible environment? This perfect day that you can step out and do anything you want, what would you be doing? Okay, so open your eyes if you had them shut, which I see you did. So think about that now for a second. So how did that feel? Taking a minute like this and letting your imagination go wild and just go on a journey to feel and see and imagine and visualize. It helps maybe to be led a little bit on a visualization. Sometimes if we just close our eyes and think of, using our imagination, it can be hard to get into, but when you just let it flow and you walk through a day or walk through, yourself in the future present tense, what does that feel like? So this is a little exercise. Now I want to just read something for you before we shift gears here. Um, and I want to start by just saying this. What you see in your mind, you can hold in your hand. This is something that Bob Proctor said over and over and over. It was like one of his most quoted sayings that he said. So let me tell you something that could change your life forever. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. I'm not talking about wishful thinking. I'm talking about this incredible, unshakable, undeniable kind of power of visualization. Visualization, visualizing, using your mind to see a picture of what your life could be like is so powerful and so real that when you really get into this, your entire world can begin to shift. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. It's not a cute slogan. It is a universal truth, one that governs every aspect of your life, whether you believe it or not. You are not a product of your environment. You're not bound. Let me just free you here. And I'm speaking to myself right now, too. You are not bound by your past. You are not limited by your current situation. You are only limited by what you cannot see. Because what you see consistently and the picture that you hold in your mind, that will eventually become real. Your mind is the greatest power, the greatest workshop in the universe. It's the starting point of all creation. We're made, maybe you believe in God, maybe you believe in the universe. I believe in both. I believe that we are made in the image of God, and our he is a creator. God is a creator that created all things, and we are creative beings that create just like God. Before anything ever shows up in your life, it first shows up in your imagination. Anything that you have done, anything that you have, you first saw it in your imagination. Who can tell me in the chat one thing that you know in your life you saw in your imagination before you saw it? It could be a job, it could be a business, it could be a car, it could be a partner, it could be a something. I'll tell you one thing for me. You can put in the chat if anybody's typing. Um, Donna, that's what I was going to say. My kids. I will share this. My husband and me were looking to adopt. We were trying to have kids, trying to have a family. And I was in the process of like writing my goal every day, visualizing, picturing. And I actually learned this from my good friend Tamara, who was like my mentor. And just this person was incredible. She absolutely changed my life in so many ways. And I saw her do this specifically for her children. Um, and I'm not going to tell her story. She can tell it sometime. But I was like, really thought it was not going to happen. I thought it was impossible. But I just closed my eyes. I was sitting right on this couch. It wasn't here in the space. It was at my condo. But I know some of you have visited me and seen and hung out and had a glass of wine and, maybe spent a night on this couch, which is very comfy. But I lay down on this couch nearly every morning and I was seeing these two little kids, a little boy and a little girl with curly hair and blue eyes running up to me in the morning, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Like I saw myself coming downstairs after going to the gym and getting home, getting changed, getting a shower, making a coffee, and then the little pitter patter of feet running up to me, Daddy, Daddy. Like I saw that. I saw it. I felt it. I could like smell their little hair and picking them up and squeezing their little, I knew what little kids felt like because I had nieces, and I visited them and cuddled them a lot. And I got into that so deeply, visualizing and picturing these two. And we didn't think it was going to happen. And then my husband woke up on January 1st, like 8 months before they were even thought of. And he said, Ryan, I hope you're ready to have twins because I just know in my heart that we're going to have two. It's going to be a boy and a girl, and it's going to be twins, and it's going to be amazing. And I was like, I had been writing this down. And so I believed for myself, but then when I heard it out loud from his mouth, I thought, oh my God, like just settle down. Is that going to be possible? Is it really going to happen? But he said, no, you better believe it. You better believe it. Like, get into it because this is happening. And anyway, long story short, lo and behold, July comes around and we get an email about these two twins. And he said by September, Raj said in January 1st, by September, we'll have twins. The twins came in July. However, their due date was in September. They're so excited. They need to jump out of there early to meet Daddy and Appa. But the point is this, if you see it in your head and you imagine it, it's not an accident, it is a law. It's a law of the universe. Every success story, every dream come true, every breakthrough, you can trace it back to some point where you or someone somewhere saw it first. They saw it with clarity, they saw it with confidence, they saw it with conviction. They didn't just wish for it, they lived it. They lived it in their minds until reality had no choice but to just make it show up, you know? That's the kind of vision I'm talking about here, not daydreaming, not just passive hoping like, oof, I wish I could just, if only I had more money. If only I could just quit this job and like do something else. Like I'm talking about deliberate, vivid, emotional visualization. This is one of the key things I took away from that conference I went to in Scotland, and that's why I'm pushing in on this. It's about painting a picture of the life you want, so clear and so detailed and so real that your body starts reacting and believing that it's real. Because that is actually how your subconscious mind works. It doesn't know the difference between real or not real. So you use your imagination to paint a picture and you'll feel that thing being real in your chest. You'll feel that success in your chest. You'll actually taste the victory of that job that you got, or that raise that you got, or that set of new clients that you landed and closed and activated. You carry yourself like the person that you're becoming, not like the person that you have been that got you to a place where you're stuck. This is not positive thinking, guys. It's a form, I'll say it like this. And this is how Bob used to say it, it's a form of inner dominance. This is you telling your mind, telling your body, no, 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 this is who I am now. This is me. This is Nat. This is Dat. This is Melissa. This is Donna. This is Lisa. No, no, this is Alex. Nope, this is John. This is who I am, and this is where I'm going, and nothing will stop me. And you begin to condition your nervous system to just expect it, expect success. You start behaving, in alignment with that image, and you begin to attract all the people, all the ideas, all the resources, all the opportunities that match that level of mental imagination, that frequency kind of that you're on, if you think of it in frequency. That's how powerful this is. And the mistake that most people make is they're replaying over and over the wrong movie in their minds, the wrong episode of the Netflix series that is their life. They're looking back at, oh, remember season one in episode six where I fucking part of my part of my language. I applied for that job and I didn't get it. They didn't want me. Well, that was back then, and this is now. And so maybe you learned one way how not to apply for that job, but are you going to go again for it? Are you going to ask for that raise? Are you going to ask for that promotion? Are you going to shift gears altogether and start the business that you've been dreaming of starting? Do you see it in your mind first? And guess what happens after that? Life becomes a carbon copy of that picture, of that old episode from before. You get, if you write anything down, this is a little impactful statement. You get what you expect, not what you want. What you expect to happen is exactly what will happen. And if you keep expecting life to be hard, if you keep imagining yourself to be stuck, to be broke, to be tired, you will continue to live out that vision. Not because the world is against you, but because you haven't chosen a new picture, a new image. But the moment that you choose to upgrade the picture in your mind, that is when you begin to upgrade your life. And you've got to be bold with the vision. You know what I mean? It's got to be a big picture, like a big, big ass dream. You've got to dream, you've got to dream bigger than your doubts about yourself. You can't dream within the box of your own doubts of what you think you maybe only could do, or what you only think is a little bit possible or close to the edge of where you are now. You've got to train your mind like a muscle every day, every morning and every night to close your eyes and to see it. Not once, not once in a while, once a month, when you think of it, when you hear a podcast or when you see a, visualization meme on Facebook or Instagram. No, every day. This is the most important habit of like an internal behavior to do because repetition builds belief. Faith comes by hearing and by hearing and by hearing and by hearing by repetition. And belief, that real deep bone to the core belief, that is the start. That's the birthplace of change and transformation. You don't need more time. We don't need more luck. We don't need any of those things. What we need is a clearer picture of what we want, of what we intend our life to look like. A picture so powerful that it pulls us towards that end. A picture that becomes your obsession because the world will give in to a mind that refuses to let go of an idea. If you've ever been, sometimes little kids are really amazing at this. It's really annoying as a parent, but they are like tenacious. They get in their mind something that they want, and they're just like, I want that thing. I want that thing. I want that thing no matter what. And they will push for it and ask for it and push for it and ask for it until they get it. And so I'm putting it out to you. This is kind of exercise number two. First is to take those bullet points and look at where we are. The second thing, and the only homework that I want to send you home with tonight, is to take a minute, take 10 minutes, take an hour, take however long you want, and decide in your imagination what you want your life to look like. Because before you take one step, before you take one action, or you create one affirmation, or you can talk about self-image and you can talk about all of these wonderful tools that we have and exercises and articles to read and information to gather and videos to inspire. And but before you have a clear picture, don't take an action until you have a clear picture of what you want. And then we move into bold, instant action right away. So I want you to decide, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? And that is your homework for the first night. So I'm going to send out some notes after. Um, I'm going to send some prompts too, some questions that you can ask yourself. But just go through it. You let your imagination wander. Like, what do you really want? So let me ask this. Does anybody want to share in the chat? It can be one word, it can be a sentence, it can be a short line. Like, what is something that you want? What is something that you would love to see in your life? Is there somebody that's got a goal, a amount of money that you want to earn, or an idea that you want to come to life? Who wants to share something in the chat here? And just as we're going here, I just want to I was going to share my screen and share a little image. Oh, that's amazing. Melissa, that's a great that's a great thing because that's a picture that you can have. I mean, anything that you want is going to be great. That is great. Melissa said, Donna wants that too, to get in shape, get in their best shape by 50th birthday. Well, boom. I mean, that's something I've personally done recently. Um, I will say this. getting in your imagination and seeing it. When I first hired my fitness coach, I decided one day, for one, I was just like, this sucks. I'm sick of this. I'm not happy. I don't feel good. My parent my pants don't fit. I actually went into my favorite store and tried on a sweater, and like the largest size that they carry looked atrocious. I was like, oh my God. I can't give up on the store. I have to get the sweater. What am I gonna do? That was one of the inciting incidents. But I hired a coach. I just decided, this is something I want. And this is how it goes. This is how it goes. This is a great story to illustrate now that I think about it. I decided in my heart, I am bleepity blankety blankety done with how it was. It is time to turn the bleepity bleepity blankety page, Ryan, and get on to what you are inside. I grew up being an athlete. I was like a top athlete. I was so fit. I was always in shape. I was captain of every team in high school and played oh my gosh, I was in such great shape. So I just made a decision inside. It started with making a decision. I made a decision. I said, I am doing this. Come hell or high water, I am going to do this thing. And when I made that decision, I don't know, it was either within minutes or hours, I got a message notification from a friend named Vinay, who also is going to listen to this call after the fact. And it just popped up like on Instagram. He hadn't posted for a long time. He posted a picture. And it was him in the gym, and he had his shirt like pulled up to here, and he's got this like rippling abs all the way down. And I was like, the last time I saw Vinay, he was like, no offense, Vinay, pudgy and thick and not in his very best shape. And we were talking, and he was feeling like not really energetic and healthy and whatnot. He had a really young daughter at the time. And I was like, holy crap, what did you do? And it was just like this conversation came because I had a decision made, and I just thought, like, what do I want to look like? And I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I could find the journal. I should have had the journal entry ready to show you. It was like, I am a world-class fitness model body. I have abs and thick legs and glutes and round biceps, and I feel comfortable in a Speedo, and I could rip my shirt off anytime, at my house, in public, at the gym, and feel confident about my body. No, no, no. Like I was writing this down. I was seeing it and feeling it. Like, this is what I want. And within, like, it was like the same day I got this message from Vinay, and he inspired me. He was like, yeah, man, go for it. Do it. You can do it. I did this in like 3 months. Who did you use? Did you hire a coach? What did you do? He's like, this guy named Josh. Go talk to him right now. He's amazing. He did like my program, fitness, nutrition, everything. So I reached out to this guy, Josh. He's like, oh my gosh, yes, I have one space left. I can take you on. Come and meet me Friday. I met the guy Friday. I didn't have it in my budget. I hadn't planned on like investing this money towards a coach to helping me, but I was in the spirit of it. I had made the decision and made the commitment to myself. And as soon as I did that, the resources, like I just said, the resources, the opportunity, the people, the money, it all just magically somehow came like day after day after day. I had to make the decision to go, but like, and here's something else that happened when I had a loan that got restructured. Part of it got absorbed back by the government, and it cut down my expenses by about like $1,500 in a month. And Josh's services were going to cost about $1,500 in the month, And it was like an opportunity came right at that moment for me to, boom, to just do it. I didn't plan that in advance. I made the decision. I started going for it, and then boom, boom, boom. And what I did on the first meeting with Josh, I'll say this. The first meeting with Josh, he looked at me in the eyes and he almost said word for word what Bob said to me the first time I ever talked to Bob Proctor on the phone. He said, if you do He looked at me like this. He said, if you do exactly what I tell you to do, and you get into the mind of Ryan that is already fit, he's already in shape, you will have no problem transforming in no time flat. And you'll keep it. You'll keep it off. And it was like right in my chest, like, yes, I'm down for this. Let's do it. And so he gave me some exercises and I used thinking into results and I just designed a new self-image. And I still have it on my phone here. I'd have to fast forward to that part. Let me see if I can. It's easy. Hold on. Maybe I can find it real quick for you. I'm winning. Live on the call. But so I wrote it down and then I recorded it. And it was basically that. It was like, I don't eat. I am a world-class fitness model and I'm in incredible shape, ready for a competition on stage at any time. I eat and train. No, it's I think and eat and train like the world-class athlete that I am. I don't eat that junk that I used to eat. That's the junk that I used to eat that got me fat. I eat stuff that I know feeds my body, that is delicious and nutritious and healthy. And that's what I eat because that's who I am and that's the results that I want. And I just got into this like self-image script, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, is like when we recap about what our goals are and what we want and that life that we want to create. The next thing is building out who is that Dat 2.0. Who is that Melissa 2.0? That Ryan 2.0, that Donna 2.0 that is already getting those results. What does she say about herself? What is she? How does she show up every day? What does she choose to do with her spare time? How does she spend and invest her money? How does he, you know, train at the gym? And that's the part two of closing the gap. First is getting a picture of what you want. The second is the self-image. So I'll just like, drop the surprise bomb. Spoiler alert. And what closes the gap is when we start acting in line with those two things. Boom, the gap is closed. And all of the momentum and all of the acceleration from God, from the universe, just like pours into our life. And that's the gap. And that's how we close it. So that was part one. I hope you got a little bit of something out of here. I see some like smiling faces, some inspired moments here. It was very much a one-way thing. I was trying to get us to chat and engage a little bit, which is great. And thank you for all of those who were dropping comments in the chat and whatnot. But I also wanted to be mindful of those who are going to be listening after the fact. So what is your homework? Your homework is to take some time to visualize, and I want you to write down. I'm going to send you an email shortly after this, so you'll have all of the notes, and then you'll have like a little exercise of how to get into what you want. Some questions that we'll ask you, but ultimately, if you take a blank sheet of paper, put on your favorite music, pour a little cup of coffee or tea or hot chocolate or something, a nice beverage, and curl up or sit at a desk or whatever your like comfy creative environment is and just write it down. Write it down. Actually, it was Donna, I think, who maybe shared with me like something before where it was like writing a letter to yourself. If you were a year in the future or 2 years in the future and you looked back at Dat on November 5th, 2025, or you looked back at Melissa, writing to Melissa, future Melissa from, December 31st, 2026, writing to November 5th, 2025 Melissa, what would she say to her? If Melissa had like, she is like, shredded or however, I don't know. I want to get shredded. That's not everybody wants to be all like lean and shredded, but you have that body, that physique, that level of fitness, however you define that. Because just saying I want to get fit is not enough. I will give you that feedback. It's got to be detailed. You need to describe your body, every part, where your clothes, feel good, how it fits, how you look in the mirror, what you feel like, the energy level that you have, you know, how your blood results are coming back, like 24-year-old, I don't know, whatever imagination you want to get into the detail of it. Detail, detail, detail. And it down. Write it down. And then what we're going to do at the beginning of tomorrow is turn that, I'll get some of you to share, and we're going to turn that into a goal card, into a one statement sentence that says, I am so happy and grateful now that, boom. And it's going to be you phrasing it where it feels emotional, it feels punchy, it feels like I am fucking doing this, let's get it. And yeah, then we're going to talk about self-image. How's that? Anybody have a thought? Anybody have a question? Does anybody want to come on and share or say something or add? Totally open. There's no um yeah, there's no wrong questions, there's no wrong comments, there's no wrong answers. I think we're good. Anybody enjoying this? Put a thumbs up in the chat or in the camera. Yeah, 6 packs. That you can even have 8 packs. And you can even count the obliques on the side. Um, yeah, I am my pleasure, Melissa. Melissa's just saying thank you. Absolutely my pleasure, my pleasure. Honestly, why, I've talked about a lot of things and I've run a bunch of these workshops. Um, when I came, I've got to tell you, man, when I came back from Scotland, there were so many sessions. Each one was as mind-blowing and as powerful and as life-impacting as the last one. And I've been going over my notes and I have some recordings of the like audio recordings, just sitting halfway back, trying to pick up the mic of what they were saying, recording things, listening to that over and over. And the one that stood out to me that actually helped me the most. So the president and CEO of Procter Gallagher Institute, so Bob's personal, um, colleague, very, very close friend, and who actually started the program and helped Bob start the company. Um, Sandy Gallagher, she was one of the main speakers. And like I was just mind blown with her, this tiny little 5 foot nothing lady that has just packed so much power. And the ones she did many sessions over the week, and the one session that she talked about visioneering, like creatively using your imagination to paint the picture of what you want. And then she gave us all homework and she gave like 20 minutes at the end where everybody was talking amongst their tables. It was like a 2 hour session. And, loads and loads of people there talking amongst their tables. And for some reason, she stopped at one table for a minute and then she beelined it for my table. And she locked eye contact with me and just walked straight up to me. She said, "Do you have a question for me? I feel like something's," and I was was so crazy. And she stayed there for like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and just talked to me and talked to me and gave and gave and gave. And she answered so many questions and many, so many questions, not just that I had in that moment about the business and about, transitioning from a full-time job to running your own business and all of these things that she personally went through, but questions I had about life and about visualizing and about God and about so many things. She was just like so full of giving, and I just am so grateful. I would have gone again on that trip just to have that, 30-minute conversation with Sandy. It was amazing. And then that was like I think the first day, like halfway through the first day. So then there was many other conversations that I got to pick her brain and many others of the speakers and people who were there. But of everything from that whole week, the theme that jumped out at me the most was paint a picture in your mind. If you're lacking desire, because here's maybe I'm just riffing here, but something that's coming to my heart. If you're lacking the desire and the motivation to go and get something, how do you build desire? Nobody tells us how to do this. No pastor ever preached about this, how to do it. They would say like, ask God to give you the desire, and God gives you desire of your heart. No, 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 no. That can't be. It doesn't work. I've asked, and you don't get any. Like, how do you build desire for something? There's one way to build desire, and that is to build the picture in your imagination. That's the answer. And I tested this out. And when I looked back, again, looking back on my life, I was like, oh my God, the clearer picture I had, like when I wrote this album and you know, this music album many years ago. Um, and I had an idea. I'm going to get this album and I'm going to get an award. I'm going to write one song, two songs, 10 songs, 15 songs. I don't know if they'll all get an award. I'm getting an award for this album. I'm getting an award for this album. I decided that in advance. Before I even wrote a song, I decided. And I was so adamant. It was like, I'm not doing it unless I'm getting an award. So what does the awards need? And I started looking up what the awards were, and like there's Grammys and there's Covenant Awards and there's Dove Awards and there's, it was in the Christian music sphere. And I started looking up all that stuff just to figure out like what do I need to do to get because I'm getting it. It was like I was adamant, I was decided it was happening. And I literally for the one of the first times just like was laying back I actually reached out to somebody that I had not met up to that point in the city of Toronto, where I lived, um, who had won this same award. And I asked them, like, what is it? What was it like? What was the ceremony like? What was the process like? How did you win it? What does it feel like? And she's like, come over to my house. And I went over to her house and she showed me the award. She just gave it to me in my hand. And I felt it. I was like, this is made of glass. It's just like how I picture it, but it's a lot smaller. I pictured it being like very it's this is it. This is like done. It's done. I just was so sure and I had such a like picture in my mind of that I was getting it. And whatever. It took a lot of work and we got the right team together and whatever one thing came to the next. I got invited to this conference. I was lost. I was 2 hours late. It was in Edmonton. It was a snowstorm in February. I didn't know where the conference rooms were. It was at this huge convention center that had, at the time, the world's largest escalator. I took the escalator the wrong way, so I'm going down, 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 down on the express side, all the way down to like the basement, 10 floors down. Okay. I'm lost. All I wanted to do was get up to this big concert, to the big session in the big main room, and I found my way down to this tiny little side room. There was one sign that said, like music industry something. So I said, I don't know, maybe this is it. I walked into this room. Who was in that room? The president of Sony Records Canada, the president of BMG. It was like a few people from CBC Music. There was people from recording studios, and like that all knew each other. Like this, like upper echelon of the Canadian kind of Christian music industry all the deciding factors and a bunch of the judges on the panel. And I walk in here with my little homemade CD. You guys want to listen to my music? I felt so out of place, but I had decided in advance this is what I wanted months before. I've never actually even told this story to anybody except for my husband. Nobody knows this. And they're like, I was like, oh, I'm obviously in the wrong place. And I was backing out of the room. They said, no, stay, come, stay. And it was an hour of them just talking to me, picking my brain. Well, have you thought of this? And I have somebody. He's a top producer. He's got amazing people around him. He's got a studio. This is where you should record it. What about this? Have you had feedback on your songs and your structure? Oh no, we'll talk to this guy. But all of the resources, all of the people, all the connections, all the opportunity that I need, which was like all the questions I had that I didn't even know I had, they literally got answered in that 1 hour meeting. And I came out like, okay, my trip to Edmonton was worth it. This was in 2006, going way back. Um, yeah. So, and I can recount other times where when I did something great and I had a picture of what it was before, including like, my kids, including the house that I'm in right now, including the job, that I'm in. So many things. So that's the homework. get into the spirit of it. Get in your imagination, write it down, and then tomorrow, and we're gonna get energized into um into the self-image, talking about our self-image. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I love to see your smiling faces. I really appreciate you. And those who are listening after the fact, if you have any questions, please ping me, DM me on any platform, email. If you have my number, if you haven't already got my number, WhatsApp, anything, and I'll help any way that I can. Okay, so we're going to call it here. I'm going to stop the recording and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.